So till now, students, only 10 students are there, I think, in the class. Only 10 students. See, I will take attendance also. Okay, 9. I will take your attendance after 10 minutes so that you will be able to know how many students have attended this class. So we'll start with digital signal processing. Should we wait for students to join, or I should start? Because it's already too late. So we will start. Aditi, Avantika, Charu, Nikhil, Pranjali, Pratibha, Priyanka are there in the class right now. So today we will start our class and we will discuss the syllabus. So is it visible? I have shared my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So digital signal processing. We had one basic class, I think, when we had intro of students. On that day, we had 10 students in our class. Today, we are having 9 students. Okay. So we'll start with subject digital signal processing. You can see the syllabus on the screen. First, introduction, objective, scope, and outcome of the course. See, I have created one Google Classroom for sharing the data. There, I will put the handouts where you will come to know why we should study the subject and how it will be helpful to us. So, in this starting with digital era, we all know signals are of two types, digital and analog. So, here the subject is focused on digital signal processing. And the basics of this subject is your signals and system, which you have studied in your second year. Okay, and the basics are your communication, digital electronics, because digital electronics is used everywhere because we have to use gates to design the systems in digital signal processing. So basic subject to study DSP is signals and system, and you all have studied various types of signals, systems, how to process that signal, and different types of transforms. Okay, how the signal will work in time domain and how the signal will work in frequency domain. So this is the basics of this subject, digital signal and processing. So we will start with the syllabus. Unit 1 consists of your discrete time signals. You all have studied various time signals. Signals, what are the signals? Signal can be a function of time, distance, position, temperature, pressure, etc. And it represents some variable of interest associated with the system. You have studied continuous signal, discrete signal, even signal, odd signal. In digital side, we say unit step, ramp signals. There are n number of signals. Some are random signals, some are organized signals. Okay, so first, the basics is discrete time signals. It sequences representation of signals on orthogonal basis. I think this term will be new to you. How we can represent the signal on orthogonal basis. Orthogonal, orthonormal properties we have to study in this. What do you mean by orthogonal signal? Two signals. Signals are specified in two-dimensional, three-dimensional. Multi-dimensional signals are also there. So the parameters of x-axis, y-axis are independent of each other. If the signal is orthogonal, that means there is no correlation between two signals. So that is representation of signals on orthogonal basis. Next, sampling and reconstruction of signals. See students, why this topic is very important, sampling and reconstruction of signals. because here we are dealing with digital signals and most of the signals are analog. So we have to convert those analog signals into digital one. Now how we will convert analog signals into digital one? By using this properties of sampling quantization, which you have studied in your communication subject. So sampling and reconstruction of signal. Sampling is done at the transmitter side, we must say, and reconstruction of signal is required at the receiver side. When we are receiving the signal, there happens some due to noise, due to various other parameters, due to circuit complexity, the signals get distorted at the receiver side. So what we will do, we will apply some reconstruction technique to get the original signal as it is. So this is sampling and reconstruction of signals. Next, discrete systems attributes. See, what are the attributes of discrete systems? Next, we have to study the basic transform, that is Z transform, which is associated with your digital signal processing. Because whenever we are talking about digital discrete times processing, we have to use Z transforms. Whenever we are using this analog, we have to use your Laplace transform. So here we will study Z transforms. I think you have studied Z transforms earlier. So here we will have basic detailing, ROCs, and few Z transform example we will simplify in this. Next is your analysis of LSI system. What do we mean by LSI system? See, you have studied the subject signals and system, where you have studied various types of signals, various types of systems. Then you have performed operations, transform activities on those signals and systems. So here analysis of LSI system. You have studied linear systems, you have studied shift invariant systems. So this is the combination of linear shift invariant systems, analysis of LSI systems. So we are merging two properties to design a very effective system. So that system is linear shift invariant system. You have studied time invariant property. Time invariant is for analog systems. For digital systems, we are using shift invariant property. So linear shift invariant system, LSI systems. Then in this unit, we have to study frequency analysis. And then we have to study inverse system. Inverse systems are the reverse systems of the basic systems, where we will get the same data after inverting the system. So inverse system. So this completes our unit 1. I am just discussing the syllabus. I am briefing out the syllabus today. Then DFT. What do you mean by, see, you have studied Fourier transforms. You have studied Fourier transforms. Any problem, students? Now also voice is not clear.
Ma'am.
It's clear.
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Okay. So discrete Fourier transform DFT. You have studied basic Fourier transforms, which you have used to analyze different types of signals, but it has limitations. It can't give you a proper digital system. So we are converting, we are adding more number of elements to that to design discrete Fourier transform, that is in short known as DFT. Discrete Fourier transform. Basic Fourier transform, we have splitted it into many points to get discrete Fourier transform so that we can get a perfect digital signal at the output. Advancement of DFT is your FFT, fast Fourier transform. And see, DFT calculations are little bit tough. So we should know first Fourier transforms very well so that I can simplify DFT. So see students, what I want for prerequisites of this subject, I want that you should know various basic signals which you have studied, various systems you should know their properties very well. Then you should know the basics of Z transforms, basics of Fourier transforms, so that this subject will be very much clear to you. So next, fast Fourier transform algorithm. This is the effective way to represent DFT. There are two techniques in FFT, DIT and DIF, which we will study further on while discussing this unit. So, this FFT is not easily calculated by using your calculators. We have to use computers to simplify this FFTs. Algorithm. Implementation of discrete time systems in DFT and FFT. So, next unit is design of FIR digital filters. Now, when we are talking about digital signal processing, whenever signal is processed, some filtering is required to transmit that signal. So there are two types of basic filters that are FIR and IIR. FIR is finite impulse response filter and IIR is infinite impulse response. So finite impulse response digital filter, different techniques are there which we have to study. First is your window method. In this window method, there are 4 to 5 various ways. So we have to remember each method to simplify FIR filter. It is totally numerical based subject. Theory is very less as compared, and we should have a very good practice on numericals to clear the subject. So next is Park-McLean's method. These are the two methods which you have to study for designing of FIR digital filters. Next, design of IIR digital filters. IIR is infinite impulse response, which is not restricted, not limited. It is having infinite number of impulse response. So in this, see, we all know, I think you have studied various basic filters, or you should know low pass, band stop, high pass, and all pass. So low pass filter means when we will use this filter depending on our application. I'm having a signal which I want to pass from 0 to 20 kilohertz. I want to pass that signal after 20 kilohertz through the device. I want that signal should not be passed. So what I will use a low pass filter which will allow the signal to pass through lower frequencies from 0 to 20 kilohertz. It will allow to pass the signal. After that, it will start attenuation and your signal will degrade. So that is my low pass filter. Likewise, we are having different types of filters. Band pass, which will pass through band stop, that means a particular range of frequencies will be stopped, other will be passed. Then high pass filter means the lower frequencies signals will not be passed. Till 0 to 20 kilohertz it won't be passed. I want that signal of higher frequencies should pass through the device. So I will use high pass filter where after 20 kilohertz signal will be passed through the device. So that is the example of high pass filter. So we have to design all these filters by using IIR digital filters. So three basic approximation techniques are there. First, Butterworth, Chebyshev, and elliptical approximations. So this is again a mathematical derivation ki how we will design Butterworth filter, how we will design Chebyshev filter, and what are their frequency response, what are their approximations. So we have to remember all the equations while simplifying the numericals. So we will discuss in this two basic types of filter in this unit, FIR and IIR filters. Clear? This unit summers up with filters. Previous unit summers up with how we have to process the signal, how the signal will be calculated. The values will be calculated by using DFT and FFT. Next is your effect of finite register length in FIR digital design. So what do you mean by finite registers? We all know what is a register. Register is a device which will store some values, zeros, ones, it will store in that. So effect of finite register length in FIR filter design. What happens when we get some values or we get some constant coefficients at the output after calculating this FIR filter, we will get some filter responses. That response, that coefficients will be stored in some device. When we are talking about digital signal processing, the device range is very small. We want to store all these values these coefficients in that. We have to store the values in that registers. So what will happen? The storage device is limited. So what we want to do? We have to convert the infinite range of this coefficients to a finite limit so that we can design this filter and our values of constant coefficients can be stored easily in that. So that is my effect of finite register length. So what happens to this? Again, I will explain you. See, in unit 2, we have to study one more topic, that is LCCD equations, which is used to simplify LSI systems. LCCD equations are linear constant coefficient difference equations. So there we will get some constant coefficient values at the output. Those values are to be stored. But what happens, these coefficients and the signal variables have infinite precision, taking any value between minus infinity to infinity. But when implemented in either software form or in a hardware form, what will happen? The system parameters along with the signal variables can take only discrete values within a specified range. Since the registers of the digital machine where they are stored are of finite length, because registers will have some finite length, parameters are of infinite length, so we have to convert that infinite length parameter into finite one. So this topic is very important. Generally, a short note is asked on this topic: effect of finite register length in FIR filter design. Then parametric and non-parametric spectral estimation. Frequency spectral estimation is done. There are two methods: parametric and non-parametric method, which we will study. In this also short note is asked. Next is introduction to multi-rate signal processing and applications of DSP. See, multi-rate DSP by the name, we can understand what is the rate at which the signal is transmitting. That is a frequency, 2 kilohertz, 4 kilohertz, thousands of hertz, megahertz frequency, gigahertz frequency can be there. So multi-rate DSP means discrete systems with unequal sampling rates at various parts of systems are called multi-rate systems. Means if I am having one system designed for a frequency of 100 kilohertz, so that system, that processor will process only that frequency. Clear? But I want a system where at different points I need different frequencies. Somewhere I need 50 kilohertz, somewhere I need 80 kilohertz, somewhere I need 20 kilohertz. So what problem will be there? That means we need more devices which can change the rate of the signal. So at particular point, I need different frequency. So I want to design that device which will have all these options. It will be inbuilt into that. So that is the multi-rate signal processing. A single processor can process different sampling rates of frequencies. So this topic is generally for your MTech or for research purpose, multi-rate signal processing. So what do we mean by multi-rate? Multi-rate signal processing uses downsamplers and upsamplers. What this do? This changes the frequency from high to low and low to high. So discrete time systems, again I am repeating, discrete time systems with unequal sampling rates at various parts of the systems are called multi-rate systems, where it uses your upsampling and downsampling. So different sampling rates are there in a single device. That is my multi-rate signal processing. And single rate system, what it will have? It will just have one sampling rate at the input and the output. And at all internal nodes, the frequency will remain same. So clear single rate signal processing and multi-rate signal processing. N number of applications are there. You all know there are various applications of digital signal processing. Like first of all, we are using it in biomedical applications, in medical applications, because there are n number of signals with low frequency are generated in medical fields like ECG signals, EEG signals. Okay, in day-to-day life telecommunication signals, what we are having? We are having the music signal, sound signal is there, telecommunication, use equalizers, use filters, sound recording applications, musical recording applications. So there are n number of applications of so we are having this applications of DSP. So this is the thorough syllabus which I have discussed so that you will have a background to what we have to study in this subject. Is it clear? So now we will start with the first unit. So students, how many students are there right now? Please message me and I will just take your attendance first. Please comment on your chat box so that I will be able to know who are attending. ठीक है? Aditi, participants, are you listening to me? Just write on the chat box yes or present. You can write P. You can write. So Aditi, Akshat. Oh, see, I'm having your names. Don't write because I'm going serially according to your RTO roll numbers. Aditi, okay, very good. Present. Akshat, Amisha, okay. Arpit, Avantika, okay, very good. Charu, Dinesh. See, if anybody know he is absent, you can write absent so that my confusion will be avoided. Jaya, Komal, Nikhil, Pranjali. Okay, Nikhil is present. Okay, Pranjali is present. Pratibha, Priyanka, Ramdhan, Ritika, Sakshi, Shivani, Shubham, Vikas. Shubham is present. Okay. And Vikas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 9 students are present. ठीक है? Shivani Gehlot is present. 10. Okay. Anyone else left? See, we have to keep this record. 10 students present today. Is it fine? 10 students only? Okay, beta, okay, chalo. ठीक है. Next, we will start with digital signal processing and basic introduction, a very, very basic. We will study over here. So, introduction to DSP, principles and operation, advantages, disadvantages, applications, and conclusion. So, what is a signal? Any signal is, we can say anything. Right now, I am talking to you, it's a signal. You are listening the fan's voice when it is running. You are listening to any machine, it is producing some sound. That is again a signal. Some signals you can process, some signals are very difficult to process. To generate a proper output from that. So, a signal, any physical phenomenon that carries or convey information from one place to other and represent as a function of independent variables such as time and distance. This is a very basic example, sinusoidal signals, time and amplitude and distance, for how long it will carry that signal. What is signal processing? Signal processing is the analysis, interpretation, and manipulation of signal, sound, images, time varying measurement values, and sensor data, etc. Any signal which is like to be processed, interpreted, manipulated is known as signal processing. So, types of signal processing, two types: analog signal processing and digital signal processing. We all know analog signals and digital signals. What do you mean by analog signal processing? That means input to that signal processor ASP should be analog in nature. That means it should be continuum with respect to your time. And output will again same, it will be in continuum in time, it will be continuous, it will be analogous. So there I have to use analog signal processing. Digital signal processing, this DSP processor will have digital input and digital output. So two types of basic signal processing, and you're as a third year electronics communication student, we have to study digital signal processing. So digital, we all know, which operates on discrete signals in the form of numbers, in the form of binary data, zeros and ones. Digital data. If I'm having analog data and I want to use DSP processor, because there are n number of benefits to use DSP processor. Various advantages are there. Accuracy is very high. Designing sometimes becomes complicated. Otherwise, designing issues are very easy. Then accuracy is very high. So digital data, digital signal processing, and if I am having analog signal, what I will do, I will convert that analog signal into digital signal to use DSP processor. So I can use, it's not like that the DSP processor is there, so input should be digital only. If for digital data I can use DSP, no. If I am having analog data, what I will do, I will first convert that analog data into digital one, and then I will use it as a for your DSP processor. Signal, we all know what is a signal: electrical quantity or effect of any random things. Processing, a series operation performed according to program instructions. So we will process that signal so that it is easily understandable to us, or for mathematical reasons we will process that signal. So this is the basic diagram over where IF signal input. In communication, you are using, generally DSPs are used in communication. Then analog signal input is there. Analog signal input, analog to, see why students are leaving in between the lecture, I'm not getting, and this is not a good habit to leave the lecture. Analog to digital conversion, ADC is used. So here I will get a digital signal. It's marked in this arrow. Signal is processed by using some different types of systems. Here I will be using LSI system, linear shift invariant systems. This processed output is generated in digital form, and here, as we all know, input was analog, output should be again analog. So that IF signal input is generated into audio signal. To listen music, to listen song, I will convert this DAC, analog signal, and audio output I am getting over here. So this is the basic concept. So, need of signal processing. Why signals are processed? To avoid distortion, to avoid noise, to avoid the current intermittence happening in the signals, we will use signal processing. This will healthify the signal. You will get a very good signal at the output after applying this processing techniques. So, whatever distortions are there in the original signal, you can repair that signal by using signal processing. So is it clear? Now this is my principle and operation of digital signal. Digital signal processing consists of anti-aliasing filters, ADC, digital processor, DAC, and a reconstruction filter. Anti-aliasing is a new term which is used to at the receiving side to defend that aliasing effects. You have heard ISI, intersymbol interference. If the two signals are not sent at a proper sampling rate, Nyquist rate, the signals will aliase. They will merge together and it will become very difficult to identify those signals. So there I will use anti-aliasing filter at the receiving side. So today we will finish our topic over here. Basic signals processing units we have studied today. In next class, we will continue with basics of signals and systems. So thank you, students. And if you have any doubt, you can have doubts in your chat box. So any doubt, because the session will end. We have a 2 session.